Hello, welcome back. This is 52 weeks of design, and I am Alexa Hampton. And today we are going to be talking to an incredibly talented woman. And here we go. And I'm going to have her say her name so we can get her pronunciation. Oh, it just said she declined. Wow, maybe she thought better of it. Hello. Okay. Come on, baby. Let's do this. So, how is everybody? Hi! How are
Hey,
you? Okay, now I can see you. How are you? I
I'm
like
good.
you.
Oh, I heard you. What is the exact pronunciation of my name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
that
name
is a
has
bit of
gotten
a.
a beating in recent years because of Madame Maxwell.
Oh, I know, but that's kind of interesting. So my first name is Ghislaine, and my last name is Viñas, and it has been really interesting having somebody with the same name as me in the media because I can hear how different people say it
That
differently.
that's how I feel about the Alexa machine. You know, it used to be
Wait, that what do you
Alexis,
mean? They don't get your name right?
Alexandra. Well, people used to just want to make my name something else, and
Oh.
but the minute that little machine came out,
Oh,
ruined.
Alexa. Oh, I talk to you every day. And
Everybody
Siri.
talks to me every day. In fact, they talk to me in my mechanical form so frequently that they can't talk to me on the phone because if they do and they say my name, their whole house wakes up.
Oh, yeah, I
So,
never thought of that.
Ghislaine, um,
Gila.
I love your backdrop and I love your work, and I wish I were a little more fluent in technology so I could show everybody some more images than what we showed on 52. When you and I did that thing at the Y with
Oh, yes.
Sophie Donaldson, and then again when we did the thing with Cindy Allen, and I saw your work and I saw more and more of it, it's just so crazy beautiful, and it's so creative,
Oh,
and it's so original, and it's not labored original. It's not original to be original. It just is. And it's like you're creating fantasies, like total fantasies for people, and I give you total props.
oh, thank you, sister.
It's true.
That's
It's
that's
true.
incredible coming from you. So I really appreciate that. I mean, I think it's when you you I think we're just working from our hearts and our guts, and that's what comes through. I think I'm just really always thinking about what I love and why I love it and why I'm drawn to it. And
And there's never any repetition in your work. It's all just totally unique.
oh, well, good.
Ah, good. So you are residential interior designer of the year for 2020.
I know.
I
That's
like
very
it.
nice. That's a nice
A
title,
little
right?
better, but I like it.
Oh, I
Um,
know that
will
my
you?
my my beautiful Cindy Allen, who has always supported me through all the years, and I think she was in the very beginning when nobody was looking at my work or even
Yeah,
considering it. Um, we
she got it.
she got it. She just saw something in me when I was, I just feel like every day I'm still learning more and more and more. And every day is a learning experience of
Yeah.
not only knowing yourself, but knowing this industry and this craft so much more. And it's so fun. And she saw something in me, and something that I didn't even see myself. And,
How could you
she's,
not have seen it? I mean,
well,
that's so crazy.
she's been this incredible mentor and
Yeah,
unbelievable friend. And, she means everything to me.
that's so nice. We do have such a great community. So I think your brother-in-law and your mother are on this.
Okay, my mommy. So
Yeah.
my mommy is the cutest. Hi, mommy.
Hi,
She's in the
mommy.
Netherlands, so it's 7 o'clock
Oh, good.
at
So
night
she's
for
having
her.
a cocktail and toasting her daughter.
Oh, I love my mommy. I have the best mother in the world. She is the
Wow.
funnest, most spirited, most optimistic, most stylish, unbelievable force of nature that you can imagine. She's so fun.
And I guess that's your sister.
My
or your
sissy as
sister-in-law.
well. It's amazing.
This is
and
great.
My best buddy. She's unbelievable.
I would love to know how you got started on this path.
So I think from the very beginning, I cleared out my closet, bottom of my closet, so I could have a place for my Barbie dolls, and I put a lot of art on the side of their walls. I think that's when you kick out fashion and bring in interiors. That was probably a good sign. But you know, I've always just been interested in interiors. My mother was a big influence. She has great taste and has an incredibly beautiful home, but it just came really naturally to her. And then we would go on Sundays, open house hunting, and I don't know, I just loved it. I loved also walking around the garden and watching plant. I liked design, and I didn't know anything about it. And so at 13, I sort of knew that I wanted to do interior design, but I really thought it was more of the decorating thing that I had thought about. I didn't know what interior design was in all its form and beauty and everything.
Let me ask you what you see as the difference between the one and the other.
Oh, so I think that, and I think that still today, actually, a lot of students are like, oh, I went into this thinking decorating. So I think decorating to me is maybe selecting fabrics or choosing colors for wall, or
like the cosmetic aspect.
The cosmetic aspects, I suppose. Whereas interior design, I think, is when you really are delving into space planning and doing shop drawings for things, and doing packages for big jobs where you're figuring out where you can put things and how, and working with architects and general contractors as a
and
team.
Figuring out where Barbie's going to live.
Exactly.
Where is Barbie going to live?
I didn't have any plumbing for Barbie or anything like that, so I think that might have been decoration. But I know that it comes up a lot, and I don't see myself as a decorator at all. I don't use that word. I know there are decorators.
Sure.
They do what they do, and they do design as well. There's a big overlap. There's a big overlap between architecture, interior design, decorating.
I consider myself both. It just depends on the job. It depends on what I'm being asked to do.
Yeah, and sometimes you are decorating, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, things that I'm doing, but we don't just do interiors. We do product, and we design. We design textile and wallpapers and furniture, and so it. I think I see design as just this big.
Yeah, it's a more encompassing activity. So you went around, you designed for Barbie, you loved gardens,
Barbie, and
then with your mother, you came by it naturally.
To America. So I was born in the Netherlands. I grew up in South Africa, and then in 1985, my whole family went back to the Netherlands again, and it may or may not have been a boy that I followed to America.
Maybe, allegedly. Could have been.
It could have been. It could have been.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And then I went to college here. I went to a tiny college for 2 years, and then transferred to a school at that time that was called Philadelphia College of Textile and Art, Science, Textile and Science. It was the closest place to where I had gone my first year, and I was an au pair for 1 year, and I was a high school RA.
You are the au pair that everybody fears. The beautiful girl.
I'm still in touch with that woman who's just a couple of years older than me, and she's wonderful and great. And I really, you think I'm scary?
No, because you're beautiful and talented and fun. Like, I don't want you in my house. I do not want you. I mean, I want you in my house, like, in small doses. But then I want you to leave.
Says Alexa Hampton.
Then I want you to get the F out. Get out.
Girl, that's rich coming from you. The wallflower.
I shine more brightly in dull contexts. You know. So yeah,
Oh.
go away, au pair. Um, so Philadelphia. So um,
And then,
so I thought you came straight to New York. So that's not true.
pardon?
I thought you would come from the Netherlands straight to Manhattan, but no.
No, I was, for 5 years, I was in the Philadelphia area. And then a couple of times I came to New York and I was like, oh my God, what is this place? This is crazy. I loved it, but I didn't go that often. And then what happened were two of my very, very good friends from Philadelphia. I made the best friends my first 2 years in college. And they got a loft in Tribeca when Tribeca really was the heart of New York City. And nobody
no. It was still, I mean, I was certainly knew what Tribeca was in that era. And there was like the nightclub area. And there were all the artist studios, and it was very, I mean, it was rough, but it was indisputably cool.
Yeah, maybe it was cool. I don't know what was, I mean, it was my first time that I was moving to New York City, and it didn't look cool. Maybe it was cool, but you know, it wasn't so cool not having a supermarket nearby.
Sure, of course.
You know, so, but it was fantastic. And we lived like this bohemian lifestyle and sang Kumbaya every night. And I was a really good girl. And so that was sort of great. And then I was totally naive. I'd never worked for design in my life before. It was during a recession, so it was in 2000, and I couldn't really find a job. And I got out of the wrong subway station. Instead of Canal Street, I got out at Franklin Street. And when I popped up, I saw the store called Techline, and it was a modular furniture store. And I ended up working there, dropped off my portfolio, ended up working there for about 7 years. And I learned.
Did they have a sign saying they were looking for somebody, or you just went?
No. Oh God, no. You have no idea. I was so, you know, one of the best things is being naive.
I mean, that is so serendipitous. That is nuts. That's what we call a New York story.
Well, it was a little bit sad because the woman behind the kind of the front desk area, the one that I gave my resume to, and she passed it on to who would become my boss, then actually lost her job and I was hired.
You au paired her. See what I mean? Wow. Those ruthless, beautiful au pairs. Can't trust them. So
I was only in au pair for 1 year, by the way. You can't.
I'm sorry. You are tarred by that
here.
Brush forever now in my eyes.
You're gonna think, Ghislaine, oh right, the au pair.
Yeah. Au pair.
Designer.
Megastar. She was an au pair. It's kind of like saying you're an adult movie star. I mean, of course it's not.
No, I wish.
This is the voice of jealousy talking.
That's your story, Alexa. Don't get your story and my story confused.
Yes.
So then I do sales, design and sales. So you have to figure out how to use this modular furniture system to, and then you have to learn to sell. And sometimes I was selling to this little old lady doing a home office. And sometimes I was in NYU doing 10,000 square feet of office layouts. But you know, I learned so much, and you were kind of like, I was kind of driving my own little, it was commission based. So I was really
hustling,
competitive with myself. I hustled. I hustled. I hustled, and I learned to, you know what else I learned to do? I learned to ask people. I would, you know, when you're dating, and I don't know if you remember this.
I mean, I barely remember it. I barely remember it. It was such a scary time. Like, wondering if you're just going to, like, never find the one.
Should we segue into that? Should we talk about that right now? Dating?
No. It's universal. Everybody knows that story. So as you do when you date, what?
Oh, right. So I would say I would never want to be like a pain or be too needy. I wanted us to be kind of on equal footing. So I would say, what did you think about this? Do you think that you're interested in this? And they'd say yes or no. I say, because I really don't want to bother you. If you want me to bother you, then
it
let's
was an
do this.
anti-sales technique, right? Like,
I don't know. It wasn't anything anybody had taught me. I was just like, can we just be practical here?
Sure.
I don't want to be wasting my time.
I don't want to waste my time. So when you went into modular furniture, that is something that I think of as modern, or at least contemporary.
Oh, I didn't.
So was this always your bent? Because in your questionnaire, you said, the question is, what do you see that people do that you would never do, but you don't hate? And you said really traditional design. So
because
did you already
can't do
come
it.
into it from the modern side?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this is also a bit to do with my mother. Mom, you must be loving that I'm talking all about you, Mom. She can talk your ears off your head. But
I would like to meet her when she is next year.
Yes, she would love to meet you too. So when we were in South Africa, which was was not very developed when we were there, and it was very hard to get European modern furniture. My mother and my father are from, we were all born in the Netherlands, so she knew modern, and she was very. But then we moved to South Africa, and there was nowhere to get any modern furniture. They were like 30 years behind whatever was happening. So she was always looking for this modern, beautiful Italian furniture, and there were a couple of showrooms that we could go to, and she was always kind of very negative about the design in South Africa because it was so. It's just so antiquated. Yeah, it was just schlumpy and awful. Anyway, so I got this eye of looking for modern furniture, and then that's all I knew. I only knew and was attracted to modern, and it actually took me a very, very long time, because even when I was in New York and started my own business, people weren't looking for that. Nobody was, and if you're not a name and you don't, and nobody else is really doing it,
and you're marching to the beat of a totally different drum.
So I was for when I started, so I worked in for that company for about 7 or 8 years, and then I met a client who is my closest friend today, and we've 20 years later, we're still working on projects together, and we just finish each other's sentences, and I can't live without her, and she can't live without me, and
those are just the best. Those are the best.
Oh, amazing.
So great.
Amazing. So then she was opening, she's my age, and so she was opening, at that point she was like 29 or 30 and opening her first office, which was a 10,000 square foot completely raw space in the Sarah Lehigh building. And my very good friend Chris Kerr said, oh, you should meet Ghislaine. She does offices. So she thought that I was an interior designer who designed offices, but I was really working for a modular furniture company, designing offices.
But
so
you
anyway,
had the bona fides. You'd been to school, and
so we met and we clicked, and she said, send me a contract. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? Pre-internet days, so you couldn't just Google. You actually had to figure things out. And so I partnered with a friend that I worked with, and Vincent Palestro, and I said, would you go into this project 50-50 with me? Because I have no idea what I'm doing. And he was like, great. So we did this project together, and he was incredible. And we finished it. And from there,
and you didn't look back.
A residential project with her, and then and then that residential project, I hired a photographer. Her name is Elizabeth Villacella, and she said, oh, I know Cindy Alla, and she's just become the editor of Interior Design magazine. And she said, I told her about this project. She said she might swing by. I was like, yeah, that's likely to happen. So it did happen, and she walked in and she was warm and cuddly and
Yeah. And Cindy Allen, yeah.
and instantly sort of we formed a bond, and she just kept her eye on me, and I just showed her what I was doing, and she published that project. And later she told me, you know, I didn't publish this project because the interiors were so great, but the art was amazing. And, and my client was 100% responsible for the art. I had nothing to do with that at all. So you know, that was sort of funny. And then you know, she kind of, I think interior design is sort of an amazing world in New York City, and I really found my people in that community, and those are the friends and the people that I love. Lots of architects, and in all, you know, in commercial and residential and hospitality, and just formed this incredible bond and friendship with these people, because I came to New York not knowing a single person except for my 2 roommates.
And then you've instantly felt at home. You find your family.
Oh, you totally find your family just by finding people that are fun and awesome and kind
and playing with creativity and artistry and wrestling with the muse.
Yeah, and I didn't see, you know, it's easy to look at your work, right? To look at your work in hindsight and see, oh, I could see this journey I was going on, or I could see, but you don't know that when you're doing it, who you're becoming or what kind of designer you're becoming.
No, and like we're always, you know, our perception of time is always in the moment. So it really doesn't matter what the looking back, I mean, of course it does, but the point is really what you're doing at any given moment. So it is hard to see where that's going. Though I take great comfort sometimes in the passage of years. Just like, oh, okay, I'm still doing it. You know, it didn't blow up. You know, like 20 something years later, you have a body of work, and that's really exciting.
I know. I think that you and I are so interesting, in that
we are so interesting.
Our stories could not be more different, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, mine is like so ridiculously specific. I've had people say to me before, you know, how do I have a career like yours? And I'm like, oh, easy. Just have a really famous father who does. That is
well,
not
you make, you know, that's, I know you say that in jest, but you know, if the daughter had been somebody else, who knows?
Yes. But I mean, it's not a recipe, you know. Whereas there is, you know, New York is a magnet, and people of great creativity and great intelligence and great verve come here. They are beckoned, and they come here and they make a splash, and it's thrilling.
Yeah, but you know, I didn't start in this business thinking that I was this creative, unique voice, or you know, when I was in high school, I wasn't selected for the art program because I wasn't, you know, I wasn't good enough. So that was I was really trying to be that person.
I would just take a minute to say, just because you're not selected for something, because somebody doesn't see it in you, does not mean that it is not there. So it is not that you are not good enough. That is a complete fallacy. That I don't, you know, I would hate for any student to think just because they weren't chosen for something that they weren't good enough. It's just all, you know, there's skill, chance, luck, chemistry, a lot of things that go into that.
Right, and all because I can't draw a realistic tennis ball as well as somebody else can, you know. All of a sudden they're like, yeah, sorry, no, I don't think this is for you. Art is not for you. Meanwhile,
well, it really harmed you. Your inability to draw tennis balls has been a real career problem.
I think I could have drawn a tennis. You know what I would do? I would have said, can I abstract it? And then I probably could draw a tennis ball, by the way. But let's do somebody's face. I would be like, oh my God, I'm going to fail this. I cannot. My daughter Saskia is like this incredible painter.
Oh, that's so great.
She's like crazy. And then, but my daughter Mia, who's probably watching right now as well. Saskia's not watching because she has
Mia is watching. I saw her.
Mia, are you watching? She is watching. So my Mia is like me. She can abstract something and then create something from it. So everybody sort of has different talents and different that, you know what,
approaches.
You know what it's like to me? It's like saying you suck at sports because you're not good at
suck at sports. Thank you.
No, not you.
See me.
Not you, Alexa.
No, I know. I'm just fixing
not you. I bet you're a really fast runner.
My husband once, I was walking home and he said, "Where are you?" And I said, 2 blocks away. And several minutes passed and he called back and he's like, "What are you, crawling home? Are you on hand and knee? What's taking so long?" I'm like, I'm a slow walker. So anyway, it is.
Okay.
You're very easy.
Listen to my story. This is like saying, I wasn't saying when I said you're a bad sports person. I wasn't saying you, Alexa. So.
I know that.
So it's like saying you suck at sports because you are not a good water polo player, right?
Mm-hmm, sure.
And you could be like a freaking incredible gymnast. Like the top of your game, but we're just going to say we're going to use water polo to decide if you're a good sports person or not.
Right. It is not forward thinking. It is pigeonholing and it is incorrect. But it sounds, sometimes that's great because it pushes then you to find what is that outlet or what is that field in which I shine.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was very organic. It wasn't like, okay, I'll show them. I was like, I probably do suck at this. Okay. So, but I don't know.
I love hearing that your daughters both have it, that they both have these creative abilities.
Well, I think that my husband, Jaime, and I are both creatives, and he's a graphic designer. So they've always sort of been surrounded by this, and they've been schlepped to museums and design stores and whenever we travel. I love traveling, and we're always like, "Oh, look!" They're like,
right.
Now they like it. But so I think. But you also don't want to say, okay, you have to go into design. So we didn't. We never. Mia is my oldest daughter, and she's doing communications. She has like this brilliant, like really smart, strategic mind, and Saskia is more like just she can give her a pen and paper and she can just do wild and crazy things. But you don't want to push them into it, right?
No, definitely not. You don't know what will happen if you do. So you started your own business in what year?
1999.
Okay. And what are some of, again, I hope everybody watching this or who will watch this later goes to your website and looks at some of the things you do, because I actually think if I were a child, obviously as a grown-up, but even as a child, I would look at your work and get how thrilling it is. It's just so, I remember that wall that you showed a slide of where you had chopped up the porcelain and kind of tiled up the wall with these cut pieces of porcelain.
Well, we did a plate wall. A client of mine had plates, and she loved plates. And so I was trying to think of like, how can you do plate walls? Everybody's done them so many times, right?
Not like that.
Yeah. I'm sure you've done your fair share.
But yours was like, wow.
So then we just took it, and I thought, how can we got it, I just put them in a perfect square actually, and then had the tile cutter cut them so that it was this crazy thing going on, but it was in the confines of a perfect rectangle. It was gigantic. And then we did circles, and I think that's the thing that I like doing, is like pushing things, like just,
it's subversive. It makes you think.
We would do like a circle, but then it would go around the corner, and and just messing with things and turning them upside down, and having fun. And I think it's also with a lot of residential design, the fun you can have is like figuring out who the clients are, and if my clients aren't ready to go sort of design off-roading, it's probably going to be a little bit.
Design off-roading is an amazing description. So you do turn people down?
No.
Okay, so they come to
I
you
am not,
because they know this, that you're subversive and energetic and original.
I don't think anybody's going. You see, I think nobody's going to call me who is. They can see my work. They're going to know what they're going to get. So I don't have.
Right. You don't have people who want an Edwardian fantasy calling you.
It's not like 1 second, Alexa, let me just get my phone. It's ringing off the hook with people. I think, I think some people are like that, but I think my clients come to me because they're ready to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I have this body of work. You can go the medium spicy, the super spicy, or the bland. We're about that one. We're about that one thing, and not that many people are ready to
take the leap.
Yeah.
How long do your projects usually take?
Well, they can take anywhere from a year to 4 years, depending. Sometimes we'll get involved in a project where we're in it from the time that the architects start working on it,
which is the best.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And sometimes the client comes to us and says, I have this project I want to do. Let's get an architect on board, and then we'll onboard an architect, whether it's somebody that they have in mind, or making suggestions to the client, and then we really start working with them from the get-go. Or sometimes the base has already been done and then we get pulled in. Right. I do agree with you. It's really tough when you come in after. And then you have to deal with the bathrooms that have already been done and the kitchen that's already been done. And that's like the little packet of spice that you're going to figure out what you're going to put in.
Right. It's just an additive instead of baked into the cake.
Yeah. You have to figure out what the energy is. And so much of the energy is by, the structure and the interiors and what colors are the whole start of that whole story is part of it. And then sometimes a project, it's very seldom it's never less than a year. I hate to tell you.
No, I believe that, because when I look at your projects, they certainly don't look slapdash. They look incredibly thought out and thought provoking, and they signal that time has been, considerable time has been spent. How do you, with your fearless approach to color, how do you manage spinning the color throughout the whole apartment? How do you connect them?
Well, firstly, I don't work on one room at a time, right? You really look at the whole. Of course, the whole. And I sort of think, if we're talking residential, I sort of think of it as different chapters in a book. So your one chapter has to lead to another, and it's the experience of walking through a space where your energy is focused. And then, the idea that I always say is like, a good party is when there's not too many crazy people like you, Alexa. You can only have one. No, you gotta have some crazy people, like super fun people, and then you gotta have like some medium fun people, and then you gotta have some medium fun people. Very boring people, and the mix of that makes it a great party, right?
Hitting different notes, and
If you ever, when I was young, in New York, I used to hang out with a bunch of theater kids from NYU. Those parties were always a disaster because everybody was trying to have their own show, and it was just like you didn't know where to look because everybody was trying to perform. So having a party where there's just one or two really funny, great people, and that's like walking through a house or walking through any space really, or designing anything. It's like you have to figure out so much about energy, right? Where's the energy? Where's the energy?
But
where's
also
the slowdowns?
you don't want some rooms to fall, you know, to be dull in support of the excitement. I mean, there's no medium fun project of yours.
Well, you know what? That's often bedrooms, master bedrooms.
To be
No,
serene
primary
and
bedrooms,
peaceful.
not necessarily master bedrooms anymore.
To be peaceful and like a tonic.
That can sometimes be quite when you know, when some of the rooms have activity in them, then you really don't want. I don't think primary bedrooms or bedrooms should have that much energy in it that you're like, oh.
That doesn't come from the inhabitants. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I remember one room of yours that had a slide.
This is a house that we did in, this was an apartment in New York in the Phi-Dai area. And these clients are just amazing, amazing, amazing. So much fun. And
Phi-Dai? I've never heard that.
Phi-Dai.
That's financial district?
Yeah.
I love that. I've never heard that.
Okay, I did not coin that.
Well, you did in my book. So you were Phi-Daiing.
Ghislaine, the person
who coined Phi-Dai and Soho and Tribeca. I've never heard that. Never in my life.
So they, but that wasn't, I wasn't the one that said, let's put a slide in there. That was there. And I think that tells you
who's
that
coming
my clients are, they're ready for me because they're ready to put a slide in their house, and just unbelievably fun-loving people, and but chill and kind, and design junkies, and just love engineering, and so great combination of a husband and a wife, and just incredible people.
Yeah, like at peace with their zaniness. I definitely think, and not just because of the slide, I definitely think the projects that I've seen of yours, and there are many, I dare not show my kids because they think what I do is like the most boring thing ever.
Oh, and that's not true. They do not.
I know, but I mean, the energy that comes in both an intellectual and playful interior is thrilling.
Oh, Alexa, the reason why I said that I couldn't touch what traditional is that I would be deathly scared of making the biggest faux pas, or doing like, are you insane? You never do this with this. I feel like there's rules that I just don't know about. And there are, like, you don't even know it, but there are, it's based on history and your father's incredible, brand. I know it wasn't a brand in those days, but I mean,
how do you feel about the term brand? Does it exhaust you?
No.
It exhausts me. I'm like, the brand, what, that just means our point of view.
No, because it doesn't exhaust me, because I never thought of myself as a brand. And only since I've really been doing product and doing all these other things, and sort of, kind of moving myself out of the main picture, because it's exhausting being, being the person that everybody expects. And as soon as you sort of create more of a brand and everybody on board, like my incredible team of designers who work with me, and when we were able to share, like, okay, so really think about who we are, what do we stand for, it was actually sort of liberating for me to kind of get to push away from me, myself, and I, and kind of, and then.
So what do you stand for? Like,
pardon?
In this, so when you thought to yourself as you're unwittingly becoming a brand, what do you think you stand for?
I think I stand for something that's adventurous, that's fresh, that is optimistic.
Is somebody calling you? I can't hear you. Is somebody calling you?
What's Saskia trying to call me? Yeah.
Oh, Saskia.
Optimistic and fresh and fun and sophisticated. I think it took me a long time to prove that like the kind of design I do can be and is sophisticated, you know, because I think that immediately, as soon as you use color or you're playful or you're attracted to anything that is an animal head or I don't know, like I love like anything animals, like I don't know, like this super kitsch duck over here makes me very happy. And then I especially love it because this duck lives next to this duck. So
Very
that's funny
cool.
to me. Like, I think that's funny that these two ducks live together, right? And
Totally.
I love them both equally. But what was I talking about? Ducks?
Your brand and what it stands
my brand, my brand. It's yeah, I think I said what it was, right?
Yeah. Adventurous, sophistication. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of like serious signposts there. How big is your team?
I have a small team. I have 4 designers who work for me, and then a 5th one who is part-time, who's about to come on full-time in June. And then I have another new employee, Lolo. We have 2 Laurens, so we now have to call one Lolo and one Lauren. And she's coming in June as well. So it's 6 people. And then my husband works with us on anything that is visual or any layouts or presentations. Ooh. He helps us with graphics. He does a lot of the sort of the look and feel of what we look like on Instagram, and the website and all of that is his genius. He's an incredible graphic designer, incredible eye, and does stuff that I could never even think of. And he thinks of things very holistically, and that's been absolutely amazing to keep that really nice, to keep that package really tight.
Yeah. It must be great to work with your husband, and like that you share that as well as all the other things you share.
It's not always great.
Well, I believe that as well. Sometimes you need some space.
I think it's very funny that that my team has to watch us. Hi, Christina. That our team has to watch us battle it out, because I think sometimes they're just like, these 2 people are freaking crazy. But they probably think that more of me than my husband, though. He's not that crazy.
Crazy in a way that produces excitement?
Yeah, funny.
Really crazy.
Funny. I think quirky and funny and yeah. I mean, he is. We are polar opposite in the way that we are. He's so grounded and you know, he's sensible. He thinks about things before doing it. I'm the one jumping in the fire. You know, so I'm he's my tether. That's what I call him. He's my tether in a totally good way.
Much nicer than ball and chain, for sure. Right? So tell me about some of your products.
So we have a couple of lines of wallpaper with flavor paper out of Brooklyn, and we've been working with them for years and years, and you know, we were using them, specifying them all the time. And then I said to John one day, John, you know what, I should be designing for you. We should do something together. He said, you should. And so we did a line, one that's been wildly popular and been just a huge success is one called Wild Thing. And it's all these green leaves and
down the staircase.
Yes.
Yeah. Love
so
that.
Jaime, my husband Jaime, took those pictures of South African. Those are all South African plants that I grew up with in Durban, South Africa, and it was very meaningful. We were traveling to South Africa at the same time, and so that was very meaningful. And then we've done others with him, and we're just coming out with a whole new colorway for one of the for a lot of the, actually all of them were sort of new colorways and new exciting stuff. And then we've done great textile collection with HBF Textiles. Mary Jo Miller, my good friend there, that we just loved collaborating on, and I love doing that. That was great, and we get to use those fabrics all the time, which is great. We partnered with Sombrella for some outdoor fabric, so that's
I think
great.
that's proof of concept. The fact that you use them all the time,
Yeah.
it shows that they're authentically your taste.
Yeah, we use them all the time. So, and then what else have we done? We're working on some things that I can't talk about.
Well, when will we know about them?
Probably like in 6 months or something like that.
Okay, I can wait 6 months.
We have a lot of things
Irons in the fire.
A lot of things happening. And there's some exciting news that I can't tell you about. It's all kind of, so,
do you think that COVID and the fact that you've had to stay in place and hunker down, I wanted to say bunker down, but that's not right. Did it create this like geyser of creativity for you? The fact that you couldn't be doing what you wanted to do.
You know what it did?
No.
It calmed me down.
Really?
Because I wasn't like, it gave me time to think and consider because, I wasn't going to this party and then going to this event and then going to that event and then getting up the next morning and doing this. And so it really has calmed me down.
How much of that stuff do you do? The events for the...
A lot.
Yeah. Do you think that's critical to the job? I mean, I know it doesn't hurt, but do you feel that if you were talking to a young designer that you would encourage them, like, this is an important thing to do?
I do. I absolutely do.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna meet anybody like sitting at home watching Netflix, But you are, listen, you said young designer. I'm watching Netflix I can have a whole, we can talk for hours about what I'm watching and what I'm loving right now. But, getting out there and also, I think that's something about like some people, they're better in person than they are in whatever, like I've always felt like I'm better in person. That's when people sort of respond, or if I can be there, very often in the 20 years that I've been in business, I've thought if I could only do this in person, I bet I could twist someone's arm. But if I have to email, or it's probably not going to come across. So I think that's worked for me, and I'm also a very social person, so I actually just enjoy that to a point. It just got to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's too much.
Actually, I just got an email from my daughter's school today saying that there was a lecture that we could watch about tech and reflection, and trying to steer the kids to learn how to reflect in this output, constant output, which I mean is essentially what you're talking about. It's like we go, 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 go. And then when we stop, only then can we actually take stock of what's happening or what has happened.
I think it's also a little, New York City thing. You really don't know how hard you drive yourself until you leave. And, until you get out for a bit and go, wow.
Could you live anywhere else?
Well, I used to say absolutely not, because I love New York.
But
I love New York. But I think it's worn me down a bit, And I
get it.
And I think having a year where we moved to our house in Bucks County, much to my daughter's disgust, both of them were like, what? Are you and Papa actually happy there? And then we'll be on the phone and we're like, just 1 second. The geese are landing in the pond. And they're like, what? The geese are in the pond? Yeah, we're like, these two geese are nesting and they're just landing in the pond. Yeah. They're flying over us. Jaime and I on Sunday, we were like, oh, the geese are mating. Oh my God. This was like This is like big. You see, Saskia's giving us a thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
No, but
do you think you'll bring anything of this past year? Or no, let me rephrase that. What of this past year of watching the geese, of reflecting, of spending time, you know, in this different setting, what is that going to bring to your design? Anything or nothing?
More energy.
Will it?
I think so. Having me be calmer. You know, I can always see when I've designed things, like if it's winter or summer or
really
I feel like the work, my work is really, it's a lot about energy, the energy. It's before it's even about color or what I'm using, or what I'm doing. It's so much about it's so much about that. So I think just being calmer and more serene in a way.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know.
It is hard to know because we're still in the end of it. You know, like
I hope I don't revert to, I don't want to go back to living in New York full time. I don't want to live
really
there. No.
You
I want a hybrid. I really want a hybrid. I love a hybrid. You're such a city girl, Alexa. You don't even,
I know.
Do you know what grass feels like when it touches your feet? Do you know that?
I do. But I know what you're saying. I mean, it you know, it's, I tell the story of my daughter when she was 2. We were driving to my sister's wedding on the west side, and we passed a parking lot, and it was just concrete with like a chain link fence in front of it. And my daughter looked at it and pointed and said, "Parco, parco," because she thought it was a park. And I was like, only a New York child would be like, "Oh my God, it's so much fun. Like an empty concrete area where I can do anything." So yeah.
And then you're like, I wonder if
it's like child abuse. It's like, oh my God, what have I wrought? But yeah, that's interesting. And I guess it's full circle for you because you have lived places where there is more nature and are less urban.
Well, I mean, I've lived in New York City longer than any other place that I've lived my life. By like half my life in New York City, and then the other half is like
all over the place.
Over the place.
It's the center of the storm.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I love the city, the energy, the people. I mean, it has been. I never planned any of this. No, if you'd asked me when I was 18 or 18, because I wasn't in New York yet, or 19 or 20, if you had said to me, you're going to be living in New York City and you're going to be, you know, you're going to have a design firm and you're going to be a published designer, I would have gone, no, come on, somebody's mixing this up.
Jaime, by the way, does not seem like he's ready to go. He'd miss the food.
Say something?
He'd miss the food and your friends.
We miss the food. We miss our friends. But
as long as you do both.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not moving out of the city. No way. I love New York. I love New York. New York has been so good to me. And I mean, it is incredible. And I will stick with New York. Just because, you know, that, but at least now I'm able to say, like, oh, there might be somewhere else that I could live as well. Whereas beforehand, I was like, no way. 100% New York, always.
Were your kids with you during quarantine?
They were for a small amount of time. And then my oldest daughter went back to Penn State, where she's studying. Pretty soon after that. And then Saskia.
I see
so you see Mia saying, we're never leaving. And then
I think you got a couple city kids too.
Yeah, I know. They are absolutely 100% city. They were out here and they were like, no, we can't be out here in the boonies of Pennsylvania. There's nothing to do. We can't. So they both moved back.
What does your house in Pennsylvania look like?
It's a little farmhouse. It's a farmhouse that we've kind of modernized, and we bought it 15 years ago, 17 years ago, something like that. And we did a big you know, when the kids were little, my kids were little baby beans, and we sort of did the renovation, but then coming back here a year ago, we really upped it, and I'm gonna be photographing it next month or something like that very soon.
Good.
And you know, so yeah,
because I would love to see your aesthetic in that setting. Like,
well,
what
it's
a
very
great
interesting.
combination.
You know, it's so interesting. Like, I wonder how you are with this, Alexa, but this house or my apartments are always never, like, I never start, like, when a project, you do a plan and you kind of, this is actually cobbled, it's sort of cobbled together over the years, but in a very meaningful sort of way. So,
and that's how life works. I mean, you can't just snap
but
your
you never
fingers
do that
and-
with your clients, right? Your clients,
well, my clients are paying me. I'm not paying myself. I'm begging myself for favors.
And I never had time to do anything of my own either.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when raising kids, you know, you're trying to
But I mean,
have some me
our
time.
clients are wrestling with that too. I think the biggest difference for us versus our clients, and it's really me versus my clients, is when we do things in this house, in our apartment, we have to live here during it. And that's a very stressful thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I mean, that makes me feel sympathetic for my clients.
And also, you know, I think if anybody can have the experience, like I tell my designers and my colleagues as well, like really think of it, like the best way to think of anything is if you're imagining doing it for yourself.
I agree.
Because if you renovate a house, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, I never realized how difficult this is, or you know, like putting yourself on the other side is so incredibly humbling and such a huge learning curve. And I think after you've done your first house as a designer, you all of a sudden go from here, your understanding it goes from here to all of a sudden you're there and you're like, oh,
you can have real compassion for like, this
and you
is
need
tough.
compassion to work with people like us, right?
Yeah. No, I mean that we have to have compassion for our clients, because sometimes that relationship can get tense, and then you remember, like, wow, it's a lot of money. It's in their home, their temple, their most private space. And sorry, somebody called. Thirdly, it's you know, we're underfoot. We're until it's done, we're just under their feet all the time, and it can be exhausting.
I know.
What do you mentor your designers, or do they come to you fully?
All my designers right now have come to me from straight. Is this true? Straight out of school. Everyone
that's wonderful.
Straight out of school, and we don't have a big. It's not a.
Not huge turnover.
Not at all. We have. Our teams are really tight. We love each other. There's a lot of love in the office, a lot and a lot of respect and a lot of laughing and a lot of incredibly hard work from Natalie and Jenna and Zoe and Lauren. And
Lauren and Lolo.
And Lolo, who hasn't joined yet, and Ashika, who's part-time. So yeah, just a lot of love in that group, and a lot of hard work and a lot of respect, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's them. They make all that happen, you know.
So they found you.
They found me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the sort of exciting thing is, that they and her husband. Like, where is he? He's sitting outside over there, like being evil. Yeah, you know, I feel so lucky to have such an incredible group of women working with me.
Oh yeah, it's only women.
It's only women. We've had men in the past, but only women.
But you drove them out.
They couldn't stand it.
The last man standing.
Jaime, the other day we all went out. The whole group of us went out to celebrate, because we hadn't, you know, New York was slowly opening up, and we were like, Jaime's like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go. I was like, yeah, I don't think you should come either.
Too much estrogen.
And it's a good thing you didn't.
Yeah. What year, we're running out of time, but what year was the first year you hired someone to work for you? And so I'm asking because I then want to ask you, what has been the single biggest change in those people coming to you out of design school from then till now?
The first person who came to work with me was full-time, right? I had like a little bit of part-time, is a woman. Her name is Viñas Broussard, and I absolutely freaking adore this woman.
Yeah.
She interned with me, and then she was like, okay, well, I'm going to now try and get a job somewhere. And I was like, great, you go and do that. And then I was like, wait, I don't want to lose her. Yeah. I was like, okay, do you want to work for me? And then I was like, oh my God, I'm hiring somebody.
Right.
That's crazy. So this is like 5 years in. Before, all my work before that was just me trying to figure it out. And I mean, figure everything out, like the bookkeeping, the taxes. Mm-hmm. And so she came to work for me and with me, and she is an incredible force of nature. She is absolutely lovely. I adore her. She's a piece of work. Anybody who knows Viñas will know what I'm talking about. If she even listens to this, she's going to be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But she was great, and she was my confidant and my right hand person, and we did a lot together. And then she was really great because we had new people coming in, and the two next people that came in were with me for a long time, Anne and Katie, and then they left within the last like 2 years or something. They both went different ways for their reasons. And then the people, she taught everybody everything. And
great.
But I was always she kind of figured that out, and then figuring out how to let my team now manage each other has been really helpful. And it used to be that everybody, especially when we were all in the office, everybody could get the DNA of what I was thinking, or like, oh no, it has to be this, those sessions where you're just pulling fabrics and looking at colors and pulling the super exciting stuff.
I love those sessions.
Oh, they're so awesome. I love that. But it's only like what, like
right, nothing. It's 1%. Yeah,
it's but like that, and then let's spend the next month trying to make it happen, which is a huge part of it. Which is another topic that's very interesting in design schools, having more of not just creative careers for designers, but the back end, which is everything. Because now we struggle with hiring people from design school because everyone wants to design, and we're like, actually, everybody can't design. There's just not enough room for that. So, but if you want to be,
back to your metaphor about the party,
exactly,
that it takes a team of people with different skills.
Totally. And where are you hiring? Where do you hire from? Like now, we just hired a communication major to help us because we know that social media,
and it's not Saskia.
It's not Mia. Mia's the communication, Mia. But it is Mia's friend.
Okay, good. Mia vetted.
No.
Approved. Oh, Lolo, yes. I have a child who is just walking in. All right, we have hit 2:03. I am going to release you into the wild, but I would love to pick this up again and talk about. I would love to talk about my son is showing me a grade. I think that he's give me a minute. I would love to talk about what you just said about how different things are now, because I'm, it's a really interesting conversation as well. But you're wonderful.
Oh, you're wonderful too, Alexa.
This is so much fun. And obviously I'm a huge fan.
Oh,
and I will forever hide your work from my family. Yeah.
Well, thank you for inviting me to the
I
show.
love seeing you.
It's just, I love your energy, Alexa. I'm
Well,
always, whenever
we
I
get
see you,
on.
I'm like, can we go out and
Yes,
can we go
yes.
to Africa and have an adventure, just
Oh
you
my
and me?
God.
We get
I want to
into
go to
such trouble.
Egypt. Take me to Egypt. I've never been, and I need to go.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been to Egypt either. So
here we
girl
are.
trip, here we
Two
go.
platinum blondes. Let's do this.
I just need to work on my lipstick. I
can help. I can help.
Yeah. I couldn't pull that off, girl.
It's arguable whether I am pulling it off, but I will continue to wear it.
Oh my God, I love you, girl.
Lots
Thank
of
you.
love. Lots of love. Kisses.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.